you can't Niba?
So you pretty much flow with the goal.
I come to the right place then.
Post Rolls Jiu Jitsu Podcast.
Welcome back to the Post Rolls Jiu Jitsu Podcast. Super excited to be here with Nick. I'm Miles, and we got Michael here, who is turning 40 soon and a black belt at Atos.
40, I wish it was 40. It's 50 soon.
Oh, okay.
50 soon. Yeah, I'm going to be 50 a couple weeks.
Nice.
So he's turning 50 in a couple weeks, and he's a black belt at Atos.
You got your black belt.
I wish.
Oh. Dude, this
so nice.
intro is full of lies.
He's being so nice.
We got to get better guests, I think.
Let's just say you're a black belt.
Andre would not be happy about that. Purple belt, training since 2016.
Oh, okay. All right. 26. Started in 2016?
Started in 2016, yeah.
Does Atos do stripes?
Only at white belt. So there's so many people there. There's like 800 people. And so stripes would just take a week to do.
Impossible.
Yeah, it's just impossible to do.
Wow, they have 800 students?
Yeah, something
That's
like
awesome.
that now. It's insane. We've got thousands of square feet of mat.
Yeah.
Three different mats, 2 different buildings. So
I'm going to, one of the things we're definitely going to get into is I'm going to use you as my inside man. Try to gain some knowledge from you just on like what it is about their training that so like consistently produces good talent, and also what it is that you think made them such a big school, because there it is.
The hissing. Don't mind that little hissing, guys. That's mystery ghost.
We'll figure that
hissing.
out. We'll figure that out.
I think that's the ghost of Helio popping in.
Ghost of Helio. Exactly.
But and then also, what makes the business, like what makes him so successful?
Andre is a great businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He, I think, would be successful as a CEO anywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He hones in on exactly. He's willing to make mistakes and go and learn from anyone. And so he goes and, just like you're doing here, asks lots of questions, says, how are you doing things, tries different things.
That's right.
Sees how it works.
Ask lots of questions. So I've emailed him a couple. We've exchanged emails a few times, and it was like I told him, hey, I'm teaching breath work for Jiu Jitsu, and he's like, oh, really? And he lists like he must have asked 12 questions in a row. Well, how do you breathe for this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this? I was like, we need to talk on the phone or something. Like you just asked for my entire program. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a different vibe at Atos, but I'm such a big fan of Andre's, and I wish that he wasn't kind of the I guess the heel of the Gordon Ryan situation, because he's so awesome, and I feel like it was maybe negative press for him.
He was top of the game for how many years, though? And so at 40 years old, he was able to be in the biggest stage. And so I was very, very lucky to get to be in the front row, watching the whole thing, get to be backstage with him. His ability to, so he had the ACL injury, so full tear of his ACL.
Right.
And
before the match,
like 6 weeks or something, or something
no
out.
kidding.
Yeah, it was insane. And then he went down, did stem cells in Tijuana, got some of the inflammation out of there, and then his ability to work no matter what is insane.
Yeah.
So he knew that it wasn't the best situation going in there, but he's not one to pull out ever. So
it would have been, I think, better for his image, maybe, for him to show up and lose than it would be for him to pull out and be like, I'm injured, because everyone would have been like, yeah, sure,
Kind of pull a Gordon Ryan.
Right.
Oh, friend of the podcast, Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. But
they train different than, say, so Atos trains totally different than, say, New Wave, or even, so I'm super into the ecological approach for jiu-jitsu.
Well, let's talk about it, because we have 2 or 3 different episodes that have never been published due to technical difficulties that we got into it. and then it's never been out there. So we'll get into that for sure.
So I'm actually going to the ecological camp that they're holding in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Who's holding
it? Greg Souders.
That's what I was going to guess.
Yeah, so it's all those people that are in that thing. But there's only like 25 people going. So I got one of the 25 spots, and it's insane.
Oh, like they max it at 25?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
that's cool.
There's not that many because the gym's small.
What are you going to take from a camp, though? Because from what I hear a lot of times is that the downside to ecological learning is that it's very hard to notice your progress, in a short period of time. Because it can't be like, oh yeah, I do this move now that I used to not be able to do.
Correct. It's very self-directed in where you're going. So it's not like you're learning Kimura trap system or worm guard or something along those lines. You're more focusing, and actually what's very strange is, and I know you talked about it on, I think the second podcast here, is how New Wave breaks up their training. And it's very similar to the way Greg breaks up his training with a pinning portion of the class and how you do the different games. It's different. And one of the nice things about that is you can train, at least from what I've seen, a lot longer and do a lot more than, sadly, us at Atos, we tend to just go hard.
Pohada.
It's Pohada all the time. Yeah. I mean, you come out of there all day, 3 hours, and you are done. Yeah. You are just done.
So for people that don't know, can you tell what it is, what ecological training is in 2 sentences?
So ecological because it's based on your environment, and this doesn't go back. This has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu or anything.
Let me pause you real fast because I just want to make sure. Can you hear in your headphones?
I can.
Okay, because it looks like you're not. It might just be the angle I'm looking at, but as long as I just wanted to check. But okay, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, definitely. The ecological approach is based on your environment. Ecological. It goes back, I think, somewhere in the 1980s. Someone was doing research about how you interact with your environment. And Greg has brought it to the fore in jiu-jitsu in the fact that instead of us teaching specific moves, so, traditionally Brazilian class, you teach 2 different moves at the beginning of class, 2 or 3, then you go and do specific sparring or specific training on that move, so drilling, and then maybe you'll do some specific sparring, not always, depending on who's teaching the class, and then it's the rest of the time, 45 minutes of just kill yourself.
Hopefully.
That's what I like. Let's just go. Let's roll.
45 minutes to kill yourself.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah,
it's definitely my favorite part too.
I mean, I do enjoy it, but you tend to go to your A game there when unless you are a very disciplined person and saying, okay, yeah, I'm working on this particular thing, and I'm going to look for that each time and say, I want to get to the back 7 times, or I want to execute, do my Imanari roll 7 times, or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, I definitely don't. And I don't know. I don't necessarily consider myself I lack self-control. But I will say that most people have a hard time doing that. Maybe it's easier for me. Yeah,
being specific. Yeah,
it might be easier for me because I'm only rolling, or I'm 90% of the time rolling with my students. Yeah. So I have no I got to beat this guy, or I want to win. I really don't care. So that might be what makes it easier for me to do it.
But when you're a white belt coming brand new, hard. It's very, very difficult not to say leave the ego at the door and we're only going, I'm going to let this guy pass my guard, and I'm practicing getting out of side control all day today. And I'll actually have people, some days I'll do that, and people are like, you're just letting me pass your guard, aren't you? I'm like, well, yeah, about the 3rd time they figure it out, right? Or, hey, we're always getting into this particular position. And if you can do that, if the coach is directing you, that's really nice. Which is why I think positional works very, very well. I think you just leaps and bounds increase your knowledge quickly.
It's huge. Positional training is huge. We do half of our rounds. We do a standard class that my school has. Sorry, I thought my phone was silenced. Half our rounds are positional. We do 6 rounds. 3 positional and 3 regular sparring, and I'm transitioning that actually into 4 and 2, or at least I'm playing with it. The problem is that for a Gen Pop class, it's so much more fun to spar. So I have to, or we all have to consider at least what's enjoyable. Whereas the New Wave guys is entirely a room full of pros, and it's if I don't care if it's not fun.
It doesn't have to be fun, and I think most of the people that are doing jiu-jitsu, especially your middle-aged, 30-plus person, are coming in there to get fit. And if you don't feel like you're sweating and dead at the end of class, you don't feel like you've done anything.
Yeah,
and it's really difficult.
I feel that way.
Yeah, it's very difficult to go to class and then be like, well, I only did this. But am I actually better? So it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is fitness, come to the fitness one. And maybe that's how we should structure jiu-jitsu classes. It's like, hey, this is the open sparring and this is the actual drilling. I know
I'm brainstorming for a moment, but if you've ever played indoor soccer, and they have indoor soccer leagues, and they have a bar usually in the indoor soccer area, right? And I have dreamt about
a bar, like an alcohol bar.
Yeah, everything with Miles comes back to.
In the indoor soccer places, there is a bar, and after you're done playing with your team, you drink pitchers of beer. And but great. There's no practices going on the indoor soccer field. It's a league. So how fun would Brew Jitsu be, where it was no affiliation, just mats, and you go in there and it's open mat, and they also have a bar.
I mean, how would that work? You'd have to figure out alcohol licensing, otherwise you'd have to give the beer away.
Well, of course you'd figure out alcohol licensing, but
have you ever done
for the viewers at home?
How much have you drank before training?
Never ever.
It's not. It's not fun.
I hurt myself.
Yeah, it's not fun. I've done it twice, and it's not like smoking weed before training.
Well, it's like
No, it's totally different. I would
it's definitely an inhibitor.
Totally discourage it.
Well, it's like the high rollers. Do you remember the high rollers?
Jiu-jitsu
tournaments where
sure.
you'd have to get high and
I could not do that. I would just have a panic attack. Yeah, no way. But I've smoked weed before, like just rolling with friends, and I remember like waiting for them and just doing like Granby rolls, like on the cage, you go inverted on the wall, just doing that, thinking like, I'm so good at this, just like rolling side to side. And then I've done it, like had a couple shots before and then rolled, and then and it was just awful.
No, that's a horrible idea.
We were trying to come up with ideas for like jiu-jitsu video content, and we're like, how can we make jiu-jitsu like visibly pleasing, how can we make good content without having like superstar grapplers on the videos? And one of the things we caught up, we're like, well, there's like the milk mile. We could do like the milk Shark Tank, and I'm like, but then it came, like, what if we did like a Shark Tank, but every minute you got to take a shot or whatever. And then I was like, that'd be a great challenge. I think it was you that pointed out, though, like, well, it would have to be like a 30-minute Shark Tank, because it takes a minute for the shot to hit you. Anyways, they were all bad ideas, so we didn't do any of them. But
that's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, back to, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna just say, improvement-wise, it's very interesting to see how people progress and how fast they can learn. Especially I started when I was 43 years old, and I know just by going hard all the time, it was great for my physical condition, because I lost like 20 pounds. I started as a white belt. I was a little overweight. Just come and do that. But I didn't actually get better significantly until I kind of took training into my own hands, and not just studying videos, not just doing things, but being specific about what I wanted to do inside of the gym. I know you're a big Keenan fan, and Keenan always talks about, you should have something that you're working on in the gym. Like he always talks about, get to the back, choke somebody out 15 times, or, whatever it is that you're working on, that's what you should be focused and directed on. And I just didn't think about that, which is very funny, because my wife's an instructional designer, so she actually has higher education in learning science. So she'd sit there and come to the gym and look at me, and every time she's like, you guys do this the absolute wrong way. This is not the way you're supposed to learn. Yeah. It's not a skill acquisition thing. It's just random.
So much fun, though.
It is so much fun. But that's the problem, is you get very comfortable in the random. And so you look at the people that have progressed very quickly through the belts, like JT Torres, Kit Dale, and some of these other folks that I know, Kyle Terra, and they would just work in specific things. It's like, this is what I'm getting better at this week.
Right.
This is how I'm playing and doing for the next week. And then all of a sudden, it's like 4 years they get their black belt or something like that, which is just unheard of. I don't know. How long did it take you to get your black belt?
A while, because I was like a Ronin at purple. So I was I went to blue and purple real quick, and then I was a purple for like 8 years, and then I went through brown to black pretty quick.
Yeah, but you were also doing MMA at that point, so you're off and on.
Yeah, I mean, my jiu-jitsu, like, while I was fighting, definitely was just like on maintenance.
Right.
You know,
because it wasn't a priority.
Right. Yeah.
You're not just doing that; you're doing striking and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for the striking arts or the kicking or whatever, however you did your MMA, how did you acquire knowledge that way? Was it a similar thing where you're like, okay, this is what I have to get better for this particular fight because this guy does something, or was it just a different journey?
Depending on so Dwayne Ludwig really like changed. Dwayne Ludwig and then another guy that immediately before I moved to Denver who was teaching me boxing, they had a similar approach, and they really made striking make sense to me because as a grappler, striking can be really frustrating because it's so intangible and there's so like you could do it that way, but that might not work. Like there's no solid answers. Sometimes, you could do all the right things and you just zig when you should have zagged and you get knocked out, and that's so frustrating if you're used to jiu-jitsu, because in jiu-jitsu there's very rare that you make one mistake and the match is over. Like it's typically a series of things that are going wrong for you. And
that's interesting.
And you can look at it and be like, this is obviously the wrong mistake. Like if you watch back, Right. But like in striking, you're like, yeah, look, you moved this way as he was punching. We're like, well, I didn't know he was going to do that.
Okay.
It's interesting because everybody always talks. So on my step family, they actually own Star Boxing, which is a promoting. They've got Chris Allegri under them, and a couple of they had Antonio Tarver back in the day. Joe Smith Jr. is there now, and stuff like that. So I've had striking arts throughout my whole life, and my cousins and stepbrothers have been Golden Gloves of New York and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
So it's interesting, and so we talk a lot about like, hey, this is proper position, and then you look at the best person ever, or
no
at least
one
I think nobody does it the same. It's like nobody does the same. And like Mike Tyson, what's interesting about him is the way he moves and bobs and weaves. Everybody's like, oh wow, he must know what they're doing. No, he just actually is moving the whole time. He's just moving.
Yeah.
And so it's he just looks like he's slipping punches and able to get out there, but it's just the way he was moving.
Yeah, insane.
The interesting thing about Mike Tyson is because he's like widely considered, or to people not in the know of boxing, he's considered like a slugger, know. But when you talk about there's the right way to box, and basically zero of the best boxers stick to those rules, like literally zero.
Yes, exactly.
Mike Tyson's one of the only ones that does.
Yeah,
hands up, move your head, throw straight punches, and get offline. Yeah, he's like the only one that does it. What professional boxing match do you watch where they like just sit there with their hands on their chin, like those front hands down? That's what I mean? Fun. Like they break the rules and
all the time.
Yeah.
And if you watch the last match with Ngannou, it was amazing.
Was it?
Because you have this, just like what do they call it? Like just gimmick match. Do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he gave him such fits in this last fight, because he was so awkward. And
lots of taunting, hands down kind of stuff. I love that.
But Ngannou's just he's just a weird guy when you see him strike. I mean, amazing when he connects. He has so much power, but it's just different. And I think when you only go against somebody else who's got their hands up or doing things in a more proper fashion, and you've never worked with anybody who does things weird, you don't understand their game, it can sometimes throw you off. And I think that's what happened. So you have the world champion, one of the best guys ever to do it. And then Ngannou, who comes in, who's not a boxer, and he was able to give him fits.
Yeah. I suppose it's worse than normal, huh?
Hey, so regarding jiu-jitsu, do you feel like when you did the private lessons with me for about a year, do you feel like that it really... you made your biggest leaps and bounds then, or did it kind of like propel you into superstardom?
So this is a leading question, I guess, right?
Was it A, awesome, or B, incredible?
It's funny because one of the reasons that I reached out to Miles, I was a blue belt, one, because the breath work is super interesting, the ice baths, super interesting.
Which we just did today, by the way. It was fantastic.
Yes, amazing.
And warm and
I did a cold shower, so I was with you guys. And
in spirit.
Yeah.
like a 70-degree cold shower here in San
Dude,
Diego.
I don't know if Miles mentioned, but I am like in the deep throes of a weight cut right now.
Yeah,
I was gonna go train, and I was like, nah, I can't. I went to like my daughter wanted me to carry her up the driveway, and I was like, I didn't make it. I was like, guys, I'm not coming to train.
You know what? We didn't even train. We ended up just doing so much breath work, and that there was only time for ice baths.
Oh, this is not even
suited up.
We're just blown right through the time.
Change this episode. This is post bath podcast.
Post bathhouse. Miles. Yeah, I was over at the Miles bathhouse today.
Yeah.
Wow. That reminds me of our new sponsor, Fleshlight.
No, it's not. He asked me today. He's like, "Can we get Fleshlight as a podcast?" I was like, "No, that does not."
He did mention that.
Fit my brand at all, or yours. Doesn't fit. Like
it fits Miles, just not Miles's brand.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
I definitely have never used a Fleshlight. I don't really condone them. It just doesn't seem like it would be that enjoyable.
Oh man, no.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Anyway, one of the things actually that doing that holistic approach to lessons with you did was just give me confidence to work this game, and it showed me that we don't have to go hard all the time, and it actually opened the door to somewhat of that ecological approach of okay, hey, we can do positional. It's not the actual moves that we're doing per se, but like how we're interacting with each other's bodies. And Miles is interesting rolling with him because he does things so much differently than almost anybody I ever go against in jiu-jitsu. He's just not awkward, but just different, right? And so in the same way,
just like behind the back hand traps and stuff.
It's just does weird stuff, right? That probably nobody ever taught him. He just figured it out with his body, and it's his body type and the way he rolls is different, and it works well for him.
I don't know. So, because you have in the past accredited to learning moves from Marcelo's online school, which learning on an online school is about the opposite, the farthest opposite you could be from ecological learning.
Yeah,
not at all doing jiu-jitsu.
But I think that's part of our environment too. Is like every time you see somebody do something new, you can, you're thinking about it and incorporating it. It's still. You can't remove yourself from the environment. That is the environment, right? In the greater respect, it's not necessarily on the mats. We're doing whatever, right?
I'm a giant advocate of those first principles we used to go over. I kind of stumbled across these principles that you would use when you pass guard. When you pass an open guard, if you control the top leg, that is in 98% of guard passes. And so if you just only thought about that, man, you can improvise the rest. So I think that we were doing
what are the principles?
What are the other principles?
Yeah, how does it go? Because I have mine, and I'm interested to see how much they line up.
Ooh, so that's my biggest first one is just that controlling the top leg on a guard pass.
So like if they're when you say top leg, if they're laying on their right side, you control their left leg. Right,
and then sometimes sometimes it's too potent, they're too strong and you can't do anything with it. They just have a super knee shield. Then you force the other one to be the top leg, and if you control that one, and if you lift somebody's hips a millimeter off the ground, they are essentially worthless. And so if you can smash it, you can push it, you can pull it, and then once you can pin it, then you just slowly walk your way up. But all you were thinking about the whole time is just controlling their top leg. So that's one sort of massive principle. And then, there's, I could go on, but like in butterfly in an open guard position, if you want to sweep somebody, it's super simple. I teach 36 sweeps in one because you can control the post, you control the body, and then you get your hook. But you can do it in all these different ways, and it lets you improvise so many different things because all you're thinking about is if anything's more than 3 steps to me, I'm out. Unfortunately, I can't. It's not in my head anymore.
That's one of the biggest issues. I remember being a white belt, and one of the instructors at Atos, he's amazing. The guy was just an amazing competitor, and he taught this class, and it was like 42 steps. Literally, the thing is like 42 steps. I'm like, you lost me at 6 or 7, right? And so going back, what Greg talks about a lot, Souders, which he learned from Rob Gray. Rob Gray is a professor down at Arizona State, and so he works with a lot of Major League ball players. He works with a lot of golfers, and so he talks about the things that you want to focus on, the things that are invariant. So first principles, you're kind of saying, which I would equate to these invariants, which means they're invariant, so they're not variable over anything. So if you want to pass the guard, you got to get past the feet first, and then to pass, to control the hips and get chest to chest. So
there are certain things. There are certain things that we would consider moves, right? That he would call an invariant, like a Kimura grip.
Correct.
Right. That's an invariant.
Right. So you're probably going to the end of the lever, where your fulcrum is. You just don't know. So I think those are the things that you work around, or pinning the head down. So because in an arm bar, being able to fully extend. So getting those things, and if you can work towards those invariants, everything else is variable. And so then you can start to play your particular game to get to those things. And the class is just directed, hey, get to this position. I don't care how you do it. So you would say top leg. Yeah. JT would say bottom leg.
Right.
So
bottom leg
JT is bottom
People
leg all the
that,
time. So it's just different. It's not that yours is wrong. It's not that JT's is wrong. It just creates different opportunities because those are just variables. Because he's doing something to get a reaction. You're doing something to get a reaction to get the person's hips up. And then to be able to pass the guard.
Man, I watched him at Master Worlds, and he just smoked his competition
JT?
at Master Worlds. Yeah, it was like a friend told me, like, hey, there's this one dude that like is beating people in just like a minute something, and it was even light. I think he got down to lightweight. He lost some weight or something. And I was like, wait a minute, who is it?
Strongest person I've ever rolled against ever in my life. Like the pressure is insane. I was a white belt, and he would sit there and he'd put you in. Because he was teaching class one day, and he taught the kids class and everything, and so he'd do crossface to you or whatever.
JT Torres was teaching the kids class?
Oh, he was the kids class instructor. Yeah, he was the head kids class instructor.
Oh, you said when you were a white belt. Okay.
Way
Gotcha.
back, because my kids went to the class. Actually, that's the reason I started jiu-jitsu, is because my kids wanted to do a martial art.
Kids, no way.
And the reason that I got to Atos is my office building is literally right next to Atos. So it's like within 200 yards of Atos. So I just walked out. I'm like, oh, well, we should try this place.
So, do you think it was hard starting? Because you started kind of late. In life, do you think it was hard starting at Atos in particular because they're so good there?
I was nervous to go there because I looked online, just for reviews and stuff like that. Oh, this place is like the hardest place in the world to go to because all they do is train 100% all the time. Yeah. You're gonna die.
I had a student that went there for a year. So he was trained with us, then he went there for a year because of a work thing, and then now he's back with us because that situation changed. But he was saying for him it was like it might have been just the class he was going to because he didn't. I know that they have white belt classes. He wasn't in that class, and he was like, "It's super sink or swim." Like, I roll with black belts, and they just crush me. Like they don't help me.
No, it definitely depends on the class. So they do have white belt classes now, which I think are better. They have, and the instructors do it a little bit different. Like if you go to the early morning class, there's much more. It's a different curriculum than say the general population classes. What's the early morning class? So it's like 6 a.m. Rolando Sampson teaches that one, and he's got a curriculum that's kind of a more traditional in the way of thinking of curriculum. So he's going to do, we're going to do
3 moves that don't match.
No, everything is for him is matching. So he comes from a kinesiology background, so he's got his kinesiology degree, and so his warm ups aren't rolling around on the mat; they're more like kines warm ups that you're actually because it's 6 a.m.
You got. I know we're told
you're cold. You're just waking up. You need a little bit. So we can make fun of rolling and doing backwards rolls and forward rolls and things, shrimping up and down the mat.
All my classes have those in there. People make fun of it, but I can defend it. But go ahead.
No, it's interesting. So his are much more. You could be doing them for rugby or whatever. You're warming up your joints and doing those.
You got to warm up your equilibrium too. If you haven't done front rolls in a while, you get dizzy when you do them again. You know what I mean? Like your equilibrium requires engagement.
How often are you front rolling in jiu-jitsu?
How often am I front rolling? Yeah. Oh my God, I do it from when on my skateboard all the time. I fucking fall on my skateboard.
I disagree. I disagree because when there's been plenty of times where like I'm teaching a sweep. First thing comes to mind is if I'm teaching an overhead sweep. And the uke,
like the balloon sweep,
and the uke will fuck the move up because they're like trying to roll, but they don't know how to roll over their shoulder, so they just face plant, and then the person has to like let them fall off to the side. Yeah, no, you need to roll, and then they're like, what? And I'm like, next time show up on time, you'll know how to roll, and even if you don't miss the warm-ups, and then this won't be an issue. The other thing is, like, people like Greg always talks shit about hip escaping down the mats and things like that. For me, the reason why I do those things is because we have to warm up in some way, right? We're gonna do something. So does hip escaping down the mats make you insanely better at jiu-jitsu? No. But does jogging in circles or touching your toes? Definitely not. So I might as well do these moves that I know they will need, so that, say, like, when I go to teach a move, if I'm teaching an escape from side mount, I can now make this 3 steps because I can just make it frame, shrimp, and then knee in. Whereas otherwise I have to be like, frame, put your feet on the ground, bump up, get your hips out, and then bring your knee in. Now it's a 6-step move, right? Yeah. So, like, there are, like, you talk about constants. Yeah. There are certain movements that are constant. Last night in my advanced class, I was just face palming because I was trying to teach this back step leg entry to cross ashi.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I know exactly what you're
talking. And nobody could invert. Like, nobody could just, without something to push on, knew how to, like, get the momentum to just get their ass in the air. Yeah. And I was like, and if, you know, I don't have that as part of my warm-ups, but if I had those stupid little Granby rolls in, they wouldn't know how to do it.
Right. No, exactly. You know, go up against the wall and invert those types of things. Yeah. I do think that there's some transferability of that stuff. I just think it's like, if you're 7 years in or 5 years in and you're still going up and down,
there's no more returns.
There's there's just the return on the time investment. And I think if you only have a 60-minute class, you're paying for the 60 minutes. Hey, this is what I want you to do before class. If you guys are coming, if you're not, you know, because I want 60 minutes from the coach to give me as much as possible. And I think people want, especially when you're paying whatever the price is, the going rate is now, that people want the return on investment.
Well, what an amazing thing to do too is to condense your warm-up. And your joint healing or protection workout. Yeah. I mean, man, to send somebody home with, like, hey, if this is how you get your blood flow moving, you know, you add in that theory of antagonist muscle activation, and man, if you can warm up in a few minutes, that is, to me, that's like a gold that people can take with them. So that's something I think that instructors should be focusing on. You know, not a long warm-up,
maximizing your time.
Right.
I put a lot of thought into
sure.
that.
Have you?
I try, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, our classes are 90 minutes, and we don't have the mat space to be able to be like, hey, class starts at this time, you need to be warmed up by then, because if class is not started yet, there's another class and the mats are already full. So the warm-up has to be part of the class in my current situation, but we're moving, so hopefully that'll not be a case pretty soon.
Have you ever thought about the Marcelo Garcia's warm-ups are the greatest ever?
Like like the ones where they, like, hold their toes and they flip around and like,
they do. It's a relay race.
Oh,
it's a relay race. So they would, when I visited the school a couple of times, it was so packed that you couldn't even run a full circle around the place. They had to do 2 circles. They had to do an outside circle and an inner circle. Oh. It was literally a seminar every night there, because there's 150 people on a mat space that's, like, you know, that's not that big in New York.
How big would you say the school is there? Compared to, like, my school?
Mat space? I mean, you've been to Alliance in San Diego.
Yeah.
I would say that it's Alliance. It's smaller than Alliance, both mats.
That's still big. And they were still that packed?
Yes.
San Diego.
It's 100. There was over 100 people there on a nighttime, just a regular nighttime class.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, there's one round. There's the outside ring running. There's an inside ring running, but everybody can't warm up at the same time. So he would do relay races. So it'd be groups of 4. You'd run from 4, and then you'd get a squishy ball that you would have to hold in some fashion. So you'd have to hold it between your ankles, and you'd have to, like, do front rolls with the squishy ball, and you'd have to get it to the end. And then at the very, and you keep coming up with different ones, but then you're all in a line and just waiting. But what was so funny is to hold a squishy ball between your ankles and to do front rolls is not that easy. so you're screwing it up, and a lot of people are screwing it up. And then, like, at one point you just had to hold the ball between your ankles and get to the other side. Whatever you think the best way is to get to the other side. Yeah, like hopping or whatever it is. And people are laughing hysterically, including myself. Everyone, you're warming up because you are laughing so hard at how awful people are doing, and then like somebody drops the ball completely, some big guy, and he falls, and then somebody kicks the ball down the end, and like it is.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that tonight. I've got dodgeballs in the back of the room. I'm gonna do that tonight.
Do it tonight.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, totally across. You just get the ball to the end.
Yeah.
First you do front rolls, then you do back rolls, but whatever it is, you got to hold on to the ball in some capacity, hold it under your chin or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you could pick it all out. But I thought that was a really neat.
That's really cool.
Those are the coolest warm-ups I'd ever been in.
I think actually holding something together is very guard-like. So there's a little bit more transferability there than
keeping the tension, like squeezing your legs.
Oh yeah, it could be. It could be like a hand, an arm, like you're controlling.
They should do something where like you have to have a tennis ball and you got to hold the tennis ball on your chin because you have to protect your neck at all times, like no matter where you go.
Yeah, you could totally do that. And what Mikey, he does the heel hook with his neck, right?
Oh, the Mikey lock.
Yeah, that's his joint.
What was that? Caught me with that, like right after that happened, just some random, and I was like,
Legion.
Yeah, it was at Legion. Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's that. It was like the weekend after Mikey did it in whatever show. Yeah. It's effective. It works because it is whichever way you turn, it hurts. It's either like a toe hold or a heel hook, depending on which way you go.
Yeah,
it was cool.
There's so many. I mean, in just a few years that I've been doing jiu-jitsu, there's so much new stuff. It's insane, and I think it always is. But now because of YouTube and all the people doing it, like I can't even put so I come back, so I was injured this last year, had two knee surgeries, and so I come back first day, go right into my single leg X, Ashi, and
didn't we work on anything?
Exactly, the black belt who I was going against, he's IBJJF,
he's like Craig Jones reverse
champion, but he toe holds me because, and this is toe hold that I haven't seen, comes up, is able just to toe hold, put his arm underneath and toe hold from that. So I'm like, I can never get into single leg X that way because he consistently put his arm under to toe hold.
Did he do like the Craig Jones between the legs?
Between the legs.
It's not the between the legs one. So he's actually just using his arm.
The one where you grip like
grip
this.
Over. Yes, exactly.
John Carlo did something like that.
Yeah,
in ADCC.
similar to that.
Okay.
So he was doing it on the ground, but since I was underneath and he was standing, he was able to do that.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that.
So how many, you've only been doing jiu-jitsu a few years really, but how many BJJ Fanatics videos do you own?
I own a lot.
Yeah.
He's an encyclopedia.
Can I get your password?
I don't think you'll get sponsored that way, though.
I had someone's password for a long time and they changed it and I hadn't talked to them in years and I was like, like it had been too long. I couldn't hit them up and be like, yo, I noticed you changed your password. Can I get it back?
It's like flow grappling with their IP, if you've...
did they start doing that?
Yeah. So like
you can't share your password.
No, even my daughter and I, she was at school and she wanted to watch some of her friends compete at some worlds or whatever. And I was watching because some of my friends were competing at the same time. I'm like, oh, why is it saying my IP address is, somebody else using? And then all of a sudden Natalie, she texts me, she's like, hey, are you using flow grappling? I'm like, yes. She's like, can I just get off there get off so I can watch my friends, compete? I'm like, all right, I'll get off.
Cool.
Wow, respect.
Yeah.
I'd be so excited if one of my kids needed the flow grappling.
Use the flow grappling, yeah, right?
Oh my god!
She got her blue belt before I did. So
really?
My daughter got her blue belt before I did.
Cool. Did she quit though? Right?
She did. So once COVID happened in school, do
you chalk that up to poor parenting, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I tried. I tried my best.
How many of your kids have skipped a grade? You have three kids.
I have three. So my daughter graduated when she just turned 7, or no, she was 16 turning 17 when she graduated high school. My son graduated high school at 15. And then the current son, he's 13 and in 8th grade. So he has not skipped any grades.
And did they do that in public school?
Uh-huh.
So what did you have? Were you like, they're going to skip a grade or they're like, no, they're just accelerated?
They're just, yeah. So my daughter, she actually never skipped a grade. She went to every single grade. She just started school at 4. She was just bored and at home. And then they're like, oh, we've got the preschool or TK or whatever it is. Oh, well, she's bored there. So we're just going to keep her in the, general kindergarten class. And
okay.
Went on.
So then the next one. 15?
Yeah, he got all the way through to 5th grade, and then he started doing like advanced mathematics. So they sent him over to the middle school, and so he was doing 8th grade math in 5th grade and everything. And he finished calculus when he was just almost 13. So all 3
Wow.
semesters or all 3 years or whatever it is. And so they're like, well, you could have him go 2 years, 3 years ahead, whichever one you want. And he could have literally finished high school then. You know, you hear those people that are just done. But he didn't want to. He wanted to wrestle in high school and do all this thing. So when he was 12 years old, so he went 9th grade, and he was on the wrestling team. And when he was 13 or 14, he got his varsity letter at UC High.
Respect.
Yeah.
This is like a Cat Williams story.
Yeah, he did very well.
Right, yeah.
So now he's out
Do
in
they
Florida.
read 30 books per day for the first 7 years of their life? Have you seen that interview, the Cat Williams interview?
No, I haven't seen
You haven't seen it? Oh, it
I was
blew up
making
the
fun
internet.
of Cat Williams, not your kids, for sure.
No. Although, so it's funny because the middle one does not read as much as the other two, but he's the one that's,
Really?
mathematically gifted and has like logically gifted and all of that. So they're all very, very gifted and all super smart, but the other two like read books like in, one a day.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Wow. I need to hang books above the weight bench so
Just
that my
to
son will read. Because my son just wants to push iron up.
Oh, that's good.
Well, they both
is.
have their merits.
I didn't know he's working.
That's right. Oh yeah, Bruce is. He's almost hit his body weight. He can almost bench press his body weight.
Oh, very
Buck
good.
30.
I
He's
was going to
pretty
say
excited.
like 70 pounds last time I saw him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have 2 kids in high school here next year.
Oh, that's insane.
And they're both just pull-ups and bench pressing. That's all I have them doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
No legs.
No.
Skip
You
legs days.
Run over to your girlfriend's house. That's how you fix your legs.
Run over your girlfriend's house?
Run over to your girlfriend's house. Jog to your girlfriend's house. That's how you do your legs.
I was always all legs, no upper body.
Really?
Yeah. So I had my buddy, we started working out, and he's a year older than me. Go in the gym, and like first time, he's able to bench 225, like right out of the gate.
Oh, I hate those guys.
You hate those guys.
I
It's
hate
just
those guys.
But then we go over to the squat, and he just couldn't do it. I mean, he couldn't do 95 pounds, and here I am, like doing.
You could bench 225, but
right
squatting
out-
95?
He literally couldn't squat. It's all just
Top heavy.
inflexible and just nothing. And then I go over there and I go to squat. I'm like, oh, this is easy. And then get up, it's like 275. I'm still going.
Yeah.
I could squat all day long. I just couldn't push it in.
Dude, that's not me. My max squat and my max bench are like close. They're like a 10-pound difference probably. Yeah.
You're a meatball.
Yeah.
I never got
I'm round?
I never got over 500 pounds. I got to 495 and I was never able to go any further
That's
for squat.
Fucking...
With
That's
nothing,
terrible.
just
You should be ashamed.
And that's raw. Like not like the guys that wrap their knees or anything.
Yeah.
Because I never got into that. I didn't know about that till later on.
Man, my max squat's like... I have it in my phone. It's somewhere around 240.
Yeah?
It's not a lot.
All right.
It's not a lot. But I don't know. I've actually made but I have knee issues, or I did, and I don't anymore. And I attribute, I went from having tendonitis in my knees as a young person to being 33 with very, very healthy knees. So even though I can't
how'd you
squat
do that?
squatting.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. In the
But mostly learning proper mechanics of squatting, and then implementing that into all of my movements in my daily life.
interesting.
Now it's second nature, but I used to when I'd walk up the stairs, I would think about how am I pushing,
Right.
and where my hips are positioned, and where my weight is, where I'm pushing through my toes and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think it's from squatting. To me, that's engagement. So I had horrible knees too. I thought I was going to quit jiu-jitsu at Purple Belt. I thought for sure there was no way I was going to get to the end of Purple Belt and my knees were garbage. But then I stumbled upon a 1-minute squat. I'd do a 1-minute squat every day, and it fixed everything. And I felt like it was just the
1 minute
fact
squat
that you
meaning you would do one rep, but it would take you a minute. You would go
Exactly.
isometric,
Exactly.
real slow.
And which is cool about that too is because you can't get hurt because the movement's not fast. You really can't get hurt in not fast, in slow movements.
But yeah.
And then and you're getting the full range because I'm going to go a deep. It's not going to be 90 degrees. I'm going to go deeper and it seems like that's going to give blood flow to everywhere.
Yeah. Definitely squatting, which is the vehicle that I use. It's not necessarily the squat itself.
Yeah, it's interesting. My knees, I was fine all the way up until I was injured a year
Jiu-jitsu?
ago. So actually, I don't think it was jiu-jitsu.
What was it?
I think it was bike
Biking.
riding. I think it was biking.
You were a Peloton super fan.
I do 100 miles a week on the of riding.
Was your injury an acute injury, or was it just like?
So originally it was acute, originally it was I got a Baker cyst. So that's just like a cyst that comes in the back of the patella. And so I think it moved my meniscus. And then once that happened, then twisting and doing the jiu-jitsu stuff happened. So actually I was going with Felipe Trovo, he was like 220. And so we're in the gi.
Name dropper.
I pick him up and so go and, and I'm like, man, I got him dead to rights. I got a good sweep on this awesome black belt.
Yeah.
And he just hip switched. And then the knee just went.
A fast fucking hip switch is
and then so that was the first tear of the meniscus. The second tear was I was actually in therapy and they're doing the manipulation. And all of a sudden, I mean, it felt like I was heel hooked from
really?
It's like
the physical therapist tore your meniscus?
Yeah, the physical therapist tore my meniscus the second time. I was like, holy crap.
Fire that guy, huh?
Yeah.
Did they chip in on the deductible?
And he, I don't know. And he's a therapist for San Diego State too. I'm like, come on, man, you're killing me.
So maybe it wasn't his fault. Maybe it was ready to go.
No, it was just ready to go. It was totally ready to go. It was actually the day that I came up to Prism that was the day that we're coming up to go to, or at least to talk about going to Tulum. So
I thought that was the first injury. I thought
it was combined. So that's the first injury. So the first injury was 2 tears. I then got a repair on the meniscus. So they tried to repair it all in January of 2023. Then 6 months later, I guess one of the sutures or something failed, and so they just had to do like a meniscectomy. So they cut out like 15% of it or 13% or whatever he said.
So have you got stem cells in there?
I haven't
Tijuana
yet.
stem cells.
I do want that.
Those glorious donkey cells that they
exactly go down to get the donkey cells.
And now they can do it. There's a cool place that follows around the jiu-jitsu scene. Who they're doing stem cells in the U.S. And then what do they say?
Ways to well.
Yeah, wait.
But
is it ways to well?
Can you actually do stem? So you can do your own. So from what I know of the laws, it's your own. So actually, even my buddy runs the men's clinic down here in Serena Valley. And
really?
Yeah. He's
connected with everything.
If you want, he's another jiu-jitsu guy. He's a great guy.
Everything and everybody.
I'm trying to get.
You're talking about SARMs, right?
So, not SARMs. SARMs is the dangerous one, right? I'm trying to get.
They're all the same. The peptides.
Yeah.
It's the same as SARMs.
Yeah. And Tren and Deca, if he has any of that left over.
Exactly. I do know some people that could help with that. But that's down to Tijuana. No.
I have a brown belt, like this old grizzled brown belt that trained with me, and he was telling me stories that like when he got caught taking steroids across back to the U.S., so he started doing, because he lived in Chula Vista, is he would just drive to Mexico and just inject in the bathroom and then bring them across in his body. He would just go down there twice a week and just use them there.
Oh my God.
And then he couldn't get caught anymore.
No kidding.
Go down to Friendship Park. They're just throwing him through the fence.
He said that when he got caught, the bottle like dropped out of his belt and down his pant leg. He didn't get caught.
No.
It dropped and it went like ding 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 ding, like past the guard's feet, like went past him, and he just went like, oh shit, and he like turned around and went the other way.
Well, you do know that's why all the border patrol, so they've got the trend traps and
that's what he said. He was like, the guard looked like he was on steroids, and then he said some random guy came up to him because he turned around and just took a beeline out of there, and then like some random guy was like, oh hey bro, you dropped your steroids, and gave them back to him.
Tijuana's the best. We're not really using that to its full opportunities.
So here in the U.S. you can do stem cells, but it's your own, and then they put them in centrifuge and get them all out.
Is that the same as PRP?
PRP is different. The same difference. You're taking blood out, and then it's a different spin rate for getting you're getting more white blood cells, right? Is that how it works? You're actually getting more red blood cells.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting a concentration of oxygen-rich blood, platelet-rich blood. It's just the PRP, and then they inject it back into you. I did PRP. One of the weird things is you think, oh, inflammation is bad, and so they actually told me you want the inflammation there, especially in the places where you don't have a lot of blood flow. So because it directs the PRP. I had he gave me, he's like, because I do a bunch of ice baths. He's like, no ice baths, no NSAIDs, so anything that's
sauna and hard-ons. That's all you want to do. stay hard in the sauna.
Basically.
Just keep the blood flow.
Run into your girlfrient's house, right? That's how you go.
Right, yeah, you get both of those things.
It's both those things. Exactly.
My question with the whole thing is like, so with PRP and the other one, what did we just say? Stem cells.
Stem cells.
What they tell you is they go like, you get them and you're like, okay, basically don't move for 6 weeks. And you're like, okay, but if I didn't move for 6 weeks and didn't do PRP, I'm gonna feel better.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You know, so that makes me.
With the PRP, they did a three series injection for me, so it's like 3 different times over, because it wanes actually pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The stem cells I don't know as much about, but I know that the ones here are yours. If you go down to anywhere, or if you're anywhere else in the world, they all do like cord blood. You know, it's why they bank the cord blood. Like if you ever had a kid, they say, "Oh, hey, freeze their cord blood."
Don't you think you should be doing your own? You should be doing your own stem cells.
The problem is that I think they just don't understand like, is it a real stem cell, like that can differentiate into any particular, that's the whole thing that is a stem cell is like, hey, this cell can become any type of cell. It can become your cheek or bone or, you know, tongue or eye or whatever.
I would like Francis Ngannou's stem cells. Shout out to the friend of the podcast.
Dude, he can make a lot of money. Just like, I will sell my blood.
Sell my blood.
Sell whatever you want.
Oh my God. I just start
like
looking tan, and my nose starts getting bigger, just looking
Put him
savage.
out to stud.
It's like the new version of what is that? What is it? Grove, where all the rich people, they drink children blood, right?
Oh no, that's like the whole Peter Thiel like blood boy.
Yeah. But they just drink Francis Ngannou blood.
I mean,
so much
I'm
better.
in. I bet it's so frothy.
You know, that's a
delicious.
real thing. This is a totally real thing about how they do the transfusions of young person's blood into an older person.
Transfusions, yes.
Yes, yeah.
I've definitely
I don't know
done that.
about the drinking of blood.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't want to inject it. I want to drink it.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
have you seen Brian Johnson?
Frother.
Steamed.
Yeah, I want a little head.
latte.
I want a little head on it. Just get through the head, a little mustache. After you're done, it's delicious.
Have you seen Brian Johnson on not the Liver King Brian Johnson?
There's a lot of Brian
No, the other,
Johnsons.
the rich guy.
The rich guy that like, you know, his claim to fame is he's spent like millions of dollars on his personal.
Oh, I have seen him. His face looks so waxy.
He looks like that guy, an elf from the Lord of the Rings.
He's just sitting there. He's like, I'm 78, and you're like,
But I'm 16 at the same time.
Yeah.
What you do? I mean, when I look at him,
16-year-old girl.
I look at quick tangent. I look at tangent within a tangent. I look at the carnivore MD guy. Mm-hmm. When I look at him, I know this doesn't mean anything, but I go, you don't look healthy to me, or at least you don't look good.
What? Really, Paul?
You know what I mean?
Paul,
you look definitely your age. You know, it just doesn't look like. I'm not like, wow, you look very youthful. But when I look at that guy, right, who is vegan and also has a ton of other like artificial chemicals and things, you know, and TRT.
You think he looks good.
Dude, he looks so young.
He looks like a puffy marshmallow man. What are you?
I'm not saying he looks like he's in shape, but he looks like an elf. He looks immortal.
But has he done any like plastic surgery or anything like that? That's the one thing I didn't know, because he looked a little bit off.
According to him, no. But he
does look off.
But he does like. But he definitely like. It depends on what you would consider plastic surgery. Not like reconstruction, but I think he does.
I got you.
Puts collagen in his skin and things like that.
I got you.
But not like Botox.
Right.
According to him.
I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to look like that, because I figured it out recently. It's super easy.
Run to your girlfriend's house?
I mean, if you want to work on your legs. But no, I realized that beef tallow is literally the best lotion that you can get. And my wife even takes, so I bought a paint can size gallon of beef tallow, and I just it's absolutely incredible. You're so shiny, your skin looks like his.
Smell like beef.
You don't smell like beef. This is a Wagyu. It's for $36 you can buy a gallon of beef tallow, and it's literally the best lotion that you can get. and your skin looks amazing. And I don't even use it because I don't really give a shit how I look.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit of mine. But sometimes, if my elbows get a little ashy or something, or I'll do 3 or 4 ice baths a day because I'm a psycho, and then I'll just put it on my arms, and it seeps into your skin. You don't even have to whip it, or you don't even have to like turn it in. You don't even have to like add it to anything else.
Why would you whip it?
Why would you whip it? 'Cause that's to make
He's got like a flambe here. What's going on?
Moisturizing.
That's what the girls do. You put a little essential oils in there. You whip it into like something a little more frothy. No, but I'm just saying, just get a bucket of beef tallow and rub it on yourself, and you're gonna look amazing.
Well, I have psoriasis.
Okay,
I'm gonna try.
It's gonna help.
That's right. You did like the AIP, or what did you say? You were like getting rid of some foods or something for your psoriasis.
Yeah, and it mitigated, but did not clear it up. Yeah.
It's weird how the body attacks the body, like because it just gets confused.
And well, my skin is so constantly irritated because I train 2 or 3 times a day, right? And
right, so
like
you got to shower all the time.
Yeah,
and getting stuff up.
One of the things I read on there, like when it comes to psoriasis, is actually like shower less.
Yeah,
And I'm showering so much, so my skin is always dry, anyways. And then it's also like the parts that I get it is the parts that get rubbed. So like the tops of my feet, because when I teach kids class, I'm usually like walking around on my knees. The tops of my feet and like the insides of my thighs, and then my right eye, because when I pass guard, that's my head pressure size.
Yeah, you gotta get your head off the mat.
I roll with my face, dude. That's
your spine.
I have a saying that the cross faces are a myth, because people who cross face me, I'll just face cross their arm. Let's get that arm out of my face.
My forearm hurts. Yeah, from Professor Nick's face.
Where do you go, JT?
Yeah, I said that when I was a purple belt. I was a lot more overconfident at the time.
We all are.
I mean, you are.
That's why we don't show up for warm-ups.
You are 80% head and neck, I would say.
That's true.
You're built kind of like a lollipop.
I'm very insecure about my head size.
What's your hat size? Do you even know?
In high school, we were talking. This came up in high school. Like I was the biggest hat size, because remember those lids? The sticker had your hat size on there.
Oh,
and
mine was 7/8.
Mine was 7/8 or 6/8 or 3/4. It was big, dude. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. That's how we get along.
That's my middle child. His head is.
Is he?
The one that graduated at 15, so he had enough space for all the brain matter. But
nice.
So we were like, he's literally like 2 or 3 years old, and we go into lids because he wanted a hat. So we're getting him. I'm from LA, so he gets a Dodger hat. So we go into gets his Dodger hat, and the guy's like, "Oh, the toddler hat's over here." So we got the toddler hat. He's trying to. No, he needs an adult.
Oh my God, 2 or 3 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I always used to tease him because at the time, I think, or maybe this was after Bruce Bochy had already left. He was the Padres manager here, and Bruce Bochy has the largest head I've ever seen in my entire life. If you go look him up, he's just a giant of a head.
It's it's weird that it's very unaccommodating, because my son, my youngest, is at 5. He wore a medium adult size dome, and we didn't figure it out because he was getting skateboards and stuff at 5, and we were at Sports Authority or Dick's or whatever, and we're going through the helmets, and I'm like, because he needs a helmet for this stuff, and I'm like trying on this and that, and I'm being nice, like I try it on, okay, it doesn't work, and then and I put it back into
poor Bruce.
It doesn't make. I mean, my kids are half Filipino too, so they're half Asian. So there's actually an Asian fit size is different. That's a more circular than a white folk fit. Yeah. And
because we're like
white folks more elongated,
long and narrow.
Yeah, and Asians are more circular. So there's actually an Asian fit size. But so we're in Dick's or whatever we were in, and
wait, when you go helmet shopping, there's an
Asian fit.
There's like medium, and then there's Asian.
There's
medium.
Asian fit. It's only online.
Do they literally call it Asian fit?
Yes, this has been an absolute struggle for my life because I need to suit my boys up with whatever they need. And so we're in the sports store and we're going through it and we're starting at the beginning of the aisle and I'm putting the hat on and it doesn't work. And I'm putting it back in the package and I'm sitting it back up there and I'm taking the next one. Okay, this is a medium kid size and it doesn't work. And I sort of got like 2/3 through the aisle. I'm just throwing them to the side because nothing's fitting. And I'm leaving remnants of just helmets and the cardboard containers that they come in. And I'm getting all the way to the end until we got to adult size, and he fit a medium at 5 years old. And luckily, his head has not grown since then.
Yeah.
He still fits that size, but he was 5 then. And it was so frustrating. And like, I lost my mind and had to do all these things. And whatever employee at the Sports Authority or Dick's came by, just like, they must have been like, what the fuck, because there was 20 helmets out of the box just laying there on the ground because I was so frustrated. And I finally got him a snowboarding helmet, a medium-sized snowboarding helmet, where we had to pack the front and pack the back so it made a circular size, and it had to be adjustable too. Yeah, but those are my struggles. Thank you for listening, viewers at home. One viewer. Yeah, we have one viewer actually. Because
we don't, because it's Mike. He's I mean, I feel like you've listened to the entirety of 2.
I listened to both of them,
and through the whole thing, we're like we have 3 listeners. That's the 2 of us and it's you. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, our number one. We are the number 1 podcast with 3 listeners on the Jiu Jitsu podcast circuit, which is really exciting.
In all of North County, San Diego.
That's right.
This is perfect,
dude. That's our
taking that category.
That's definitely our intro. Welcome to the Post Rolls Jiu Jitsu podcast, the best Jiu Jitsu podcast in the history of North County, San Diego,
with only three listeners. Yeah. North County. We could take.
Our first episode did 50 downloads.
Amazing.
That's nice.
We've arrived.
We could take North County because ain't nobody out here.
No, there's one other one. I was telling you, my friend Ray, right? The Matt Time.
Matt Time is in North County?
Mm-hmm. He trains at North Coast. Mm-hmm.
So my friend Josh, he's over at, he's training now at Legion. He has 1-800-BJJ help. So he's on there with less impressed, more improvement. The video guys.
I just sent that to him saying, I just sent that to Miles saying this is the best jiu-jitsu YouTube channel there is.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He's only a purple belt, you know.
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah. So he's
Mike,
in San Diego?
Mike helped him out.
So they also have a podcast. And so Jake he's on Lanai in Hawaii. So in this little island, the one that what's his name? Who owns Oracle? Owns Larry Ellison.
I don't know.
And
how cute being successful in Hawaii.
Less impressed,
more improvement. So he
is in Hawaii.
Yeah, he's like on an island that has 3,000 people.
Yeah. Isn't Lanai like the one that like white people can't live there? Like only locals?
No, that's Molokai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's Molokai. And so, but Josh, who is his podcast host, so they also have a podcast. Josh lives here in San Diego.
Oh, and they just do it remotely.
They just do it remote.
Shout out, friend of the podcast.
Yeah, friend of the podcast. Yeah.
So he just, actually a literal friend of the podcast. The first time that we actually meet it.
Yeah.
Come on. By association.
By association, yeah.
Associate of the podcast.
Yeah, so what's interesting is their podcast is just steadily grown. So just continue doing it.
Yeah, 60K.
Just keep those guys.
Yeah, they're doing great.
So
Mike helped with the
I've done a little bit of the database.
The database of the system that they're using.
Yeah, so they do. The guy that is the developer on it. I just throw them ideas and stuff like that. I've been helping them on some of the technical.
For people that don't know, what less impressed, more involved. The worst YouTube name there is, but the best jiu-jitsu channel I think that exists. And what the tool that they have is you can go on their database and say, I want to see live competition footage that is maybe a particular move, or maybe it's like you can say like a series that started in the guard and ended in side mount, and you can look and see like, okay, of all the times that happened, what's like the most high percentage? Like it tends to be this pass. There was like an interesting stat that he put out, and I use the stats a lot when I structure my classes. Like two of the things I've learned from him. One was the highest percentage takedown in NCAA wrestling and in ACC is sprawling and going behind off the takedown. That's the number one scored takedown.
I was going to say single leg.
Yeah, no, it's sprawling on someone else's takedown.
Let them take you down and get to the back.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And then the series, how do you say? The top 5 like most finished submissions it was a specific weight class in ADCC. I think it was 66 kilograms. It was like rear naked choke. Then it was heel hook, and then the guillotine was in there somewhere. But rear naked choke and heel hook by like way long and far away from the other ones. But then heel hook dropped significantly after like the first 90 seconds of the match or something. And that's huge information. That's huge information. You know?
Defend your heel hooks. That's like that John Jones always thought he was going to be knocked out by Quentin Jackson. Yeah. And he had dreams, nightmares he was going to be knocked out by Quentin Jackson because Quentin Jackson's a savage, but he decided in the moment, that's when he started doing the crawl technique when he came into the cage and he started crawling. And he was like, it ain't going to happen if I crawl. So here I am. Tactics. There you go. Make it through the first minute and a half. Don't heel hook me. And now, nothing but smash town.
Yeah, I have an interesting theory or hypothesis. As you go up in the weight, that there's less submissions. I want to see how many actual submissions in 99 plus happen, because it seems to me that there's a ton less, and it's decided by points or refs decision. You know how they do the refs based on engagement.
How about the size of the cage and then MMA knockouts? The size of the cage is absolutely massive. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the difference is night and day.
I fought in King of the Cage, and the cage is relatively small compared to the UFC. Yeah, and it was a massive advantage to me. Being the grappler.
Oh, yeah, because you wanted to engage.
Good luck getting away from the clinch. You know, you don't know where to go. You can't like use the space, and it's so easy to cut people off and trap them. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you? And so when we do jiu-jitsu, I always tell people that because I don't really care about jiu-jitsu points and rules and stuff. I mean, I'm there to have fun, and I always tell them the wall's in bounds. Yeah. As soon as we start the roll, wall's in bounds. You know, if there's not enough room, if we're not at Legion, then everywhere else, walls in bounds. Let's go, and then a little push up against the wall and drag them down. If they know it's in bounds, it's a lot of fun.
This is where the rules come into play a lot, especially in ADCC. And I think that the heavyweights that do well, or the people as you start to go up in weight, you saw Yuri just win based on pushing people around and stuff this last time through.
Oh, how dare you! Friend of the podcast, Yuri Simonis gets 0 points.
After the last episode, actually, I think Yuri might be the first enemy of the podcast.
It's interesting.
I didn't see any of his matches. I just went for snacks.
There's an awesome video online that shows, and I cannot remember his name, so sorry for that. But it's at a tournament, ADCC rules, and he goes up against Wagner Hosha, and he wins. He wins, and he's only been doing jiu-jitsu for 4 years. This guy, but he's actually very good. So he's a really good grappler for 4 years.
He's super good at disengaging.
Eco approach trained. But he also understood exactly what the rules are, and the way whoever has more actual engagement, so actually starts the action, they keep a tally of it there.
And so they take a physical tally. Like
there's a physical tally that you don't know about. So it's almost like advantages, but it's like, hey, you're pushing the pace, so you are going to be ruled the winner if we are at a tie, and it was at a tie, so he was ruled the winner.
I mean, that's you know what, that really is awesome for the rule updates. Right. So it's like Tim Ferriss became the 2004 Chinese national push hands champion because he learned how to cut weight. So
it was 30 pounds less. Kickboxing, but yeah.
Oh yeah, push hands. Sorry, kickboxing.
Josh Waitzkin.
Josh Waitzkin.
Yeah, well, it was 2004 though. Did I get the 2004?
I don't know about the year.
But yeah, he knew that you could if you threw the guys out of the ring 3 times, then you won.
National Chinese champion.
So he was 30 pounds heavier, and then he just kept tossing the guys out of the ring. So for sure, they've changed the rules since then. And then and hopefully ADCC has changed the rules since Yuri Simonis.
But every rule set can be exploited. So like in F1 is funny. It's the only sport that I watch. I don't watch MMA. Yeah, it's the only sport I watch. It's racing. Yeah, so
car racing.
They change the rules every 3 or 4 years for that reason, because they change the rules, and then a team figures out how to exploit the rules, and they go, all right, well, we need to shake it up, and so they change the rules, and then whoever figures out the rules best ultimately dominates for the entire time.
Wow.
And I have a thing that I tell myself. I've never said this to anyone else, but
oh my god, this is exciting! Breaking news, guys. We're to the internal dialogue.
I heard a quote. I don't remember. I think this was maybe Art of War or something like that. But it was like a beginner focuses on technique or something like that, but an expert focuses on logistics. And that's kind of the war thing. But like my one-on-one version of that is like a beginner focuses on techniques, but an expert focuses on tactics.
Okay.
Just not the same, or tactics or maybe strategy. You could kind of use it.
Because they both begin with a T.
What I found is like the best guys, yeah. No, I mean, with the best guys, the skill gap is very small. And a lot of times it's just, there's definitely people that I've rolled with who have given me the hardest rolls I've ever experienced that are not as good as like someone that I know to be a world champion. I'm like, well, honestly, I was close. Hang in there, you know?
Yeah.
And because a lot of times it's just the style and what I'm good at versus where do they like to go and how good am I at going there, or vice versa. And like strategy is huge. I've won multiple, I'm not gonna say a lot, but I'm gonna say at least 3 black belt matches against someone that one against a guy that I know was better than me. Because I had rolled against him before and I know he beats me. I beat him in competition.
You beat him in points.
And then 2 others that I don't know. I don't know how that would have went. But I beat them because I knew the rules.
Right.
You know?
It's awesome.
There was a match that I watched this guy and I was like, this is by far my hardest match. Like not only was he very good, but he was very good at something that I am not good at. And I've improved a lot at it. I'm not going to say it because I
Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah. No. You son of a bitch. But I knew he was good at that. And so, but another thing that I knew is that he was going to pull guard, and he needed. So I came out and I raced him. You commented on this when it happened. Yeah, when I posted, I raced him to the guard pull.
Yeah,
and I knew that either I would pull guard. Yeah, I knew that I would pull guard, and he'd be on top, and now he's not doing what he's good at because top game wasn't great. Or he would also pull guard, and I would immediately stand up, and I'd be up by 2 points in the rule set that we were at. It wasn't an advantage; it was a full 2 points. So double pull, I stood up, 2 points, and he didn't know the whole match.
Right.
And so once I stood up, it went the way I thought. I couldn't get past his guard, but he also couldn't sweep me. So it was like it was even. You know what I mean? And then he gets up and thinking that he's going to win the 0-0 decision because me knowing that I was up was not attacking as much as he was.
Yeah.
And then there's like a shocked look on his face. He's like, "What?" Like when my hand got raised, I was like, "Yeah, didn't you see the scoreboard? I've been up this whole time."
That's why I was chilling, baby.
Yeah. So
show fancy legs.
Ultimately, you know, this is not exciting and not sexy, but the
rule set.
I won and he didn't.
So the rule set, it makes, you know, if your dojo is full of a bunch of big ass trophies, that's you get those from knowing the rule set.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Atos has been very, very good at that. So
they're strategically
good at that. And because, especially at least in the IBJJF, you could use, a lot of the folks that we have are very athletic and move a lot. There are some that are very technical, but the majority of them are just amazing athletes. They're like the most athletic folks ever. So, which means you're either going to win because of those types of things, or you're going to gas out and lose. So sometimes that happens. There's a couple of folks that are just amazingly technical, like Ande Galvao is
nice.
He's so
respect.
technical.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast. And
but also a great athlete too, though.
Gustavo Bautista. Yeah, but he's not going to explode.
Rolando
Jr.? Yeah. Rolando Jr. is just like, so he just moves.
Friend of the podcast.
How big is Ande Galvao? I've been wondering this because I'm trying to decide what weight class I need to do for IBJJF.
He's
I rolled with him.
5'7", maybe.
How much does he weigh?
He's 5'8".
5'8".
He's a buck.
No,
he's a buck 70, 80.
What does he weigh?
Like mid 180s usually. He walks around mid 180s, I think.
Okay, and then he competes at 175 pounds. 175 in nogi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he drops a lot of weight for that.
Although last year he was medium heavy, so he competed medium heavy.
What's that? 180.
All the way up to 195.
Oh, really?
Is it really?
Yeah, he was coming off. I think he got sick and was coming off something because he did like a world tour or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And then just was not able. He's like, I do medium heavy as opposed to.
I guess it makes sense that he's short.
Been lightweight.
Then.
He's been lightweight. So he's competed at lightweight. He's competed at middle and medium heavy. And I think he could win whatever. He's that good. He just really is.
He's awesome. He came over to the house before. He rolled on the mats in the backyard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I think I was supposed to go. And then he was like, nah. No.
And I said no.
It was like, no, he did. Because it was like right before Worlds. And it was understandable. It was super understandable. I wasn't it was right before Worlds. And he's like, nah, I don't want to train with strangers.
He's doing Euros.
Oh,
this
is
year.
that?
I think he's doing middle.
Is that what happened?
And I think he's
that's what happened, or you lied to me.
He's going. It's he and
Like, beat
Mika.
it, Nick.
That's what I want to see. I want to see he and Mika Galvao in the finals. That would be an interesting match.
Wait a minute, but don't they train?
No. They
Mika
have. So when Mika did the tour here,
Yeah.
he was at Baroom's. He was at Atos.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, everybody trains right together. It's like I like the Joseph Chen, Kenta. What's his last name? Whoever's.
I know you're talking about. I couldn't say his last name anyways.
Yeah, it's
Iwasawa.
Iwamoto. I cannot remember in his first
Yeah, it's Iwa something, I think.
Yeah, but training partners, and you got to compete at ADCC or whatever to get on.
Dude, shout out to Alfredo Barum. Not a friend of the podcast yet, but I mean, he's my friend. And
that makes him a friend of the podcast.
You're
So
right.
good.
So, yeah, shout out to Alfredo Barum, the friend of the podcast. But I mean, the best open mat in town before everybody created an open mat for everybody.
He created the open mat.
Well, hold on. This is what we're going to figure out. Alfredo, professor, if you see this, I know you won't because it's only Mike and Nick and me listening to this, but
And the 47 other people. We don't download.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We got a few downloads. I downloaded a few times, so maybe a few of them are mine. But I do it from my phone, my iPad, and from my computer.
I go around my house. I have my in-laws. I just say, download this, please.
Download it, please. Just listen to it to the end. But I think that the story goes, and I can't wait to find out this from him. We're going to get him in here, but that he didn't even know that he had the best open mat in town. That it was his students that put it together, and then eventually he was like, because he was never there at first, and then eventually he was like, "What? I got the best open mat in town." And then that led to, I think, all the open mats in town. They were just like, all right, fine. Everybody, so Sunday's free for everybody. Nobody's got to pay for anything. Yeah, fine.
But I've gained. Well, I guess I'm agreeing. Actually, never mind. Sorry. Never mind. Go
So I think Joe might have even put it together.
Oh,
I'm
Joe
pretty
did?
sure Joe put
Who's
it together.
the gal that trains there too? She's now the kids class instructor at Asahi. It's a weird name, guys. Sorry.
I don't know. I know Joe.
Sorry.
I don't remember
Joe's
her
the
name.
man.
But they didn't even make you pay for a long time, and now it's like black belt's free, and they ask for donation.
Dude, Joe got Master World's gi and no gi
he's
this
amazing.
year. Yeah.
He's like 60 years old, and it's like rolling.
I think
with
he's
somebody who's
160.
in 30s. He could be.
It's like Dumbledore.
He's so good.
That's right. And he just can turn into he can manipulate himself. It's been a while since I rolled him, but the last time I got side control on him, he turned into a fist. Just one single fist underneath me, and then dissipated, and then came back out from the side. Yeah, I'm like, Joe, come on, dude, you can't just turn into a fist while we're rolling.
He's actually Mikey Musumeci-esque in the way he moves.
Much respect. Yeah.
He moves in those weird ways.
He does have some weird. Now, can we go back to, you think that the top leg control, do you think that the bottom leg control is what you
bottom
need?
leg.
It's
bottom leg. I know it is. I know now that I've been doing it a while, for me at least.
Yeah.
But
what's that top leg
depends on
doing?
what pass you're doing.
Yeah, it depends
on
on the pass. Yeah, exactly. So especially I do, what do they call the crazy dog type is in the gi, you kind of pull around.
Uh-huh.
I remember that day that we rolled, I got you with that crazy. It's an interesting pass but you have to control that bottom leg.
I don't know what you're talking about. I remember rolling. I don't know what that
you
pass
basically
is.
grab the close side lapel and you're coming around on this side, but you're using it so that they can't. So I can pull and push and then control that bottom leg.
Okay.
And then come around. And so
I've heard other people say too that it's top leg.
although sometimes
It's bottom leg. Sorry.
but you can.
I'm pushing
it
everything
on
off the table right now, and we're going to do this in front of the camera. To see.
If you think about if I was going to defend almost any pass, I'm trying to get my bottom knee to my bottom elbow.
Yeah, but what if?
Right,
what
if I was trying
to
to pass, I'm framing up here, but I'm trying to keep these guys together.
But if you totally have the bottom constricted, what's your top leg doing? You can still get it back in the party.
You can, but it depends on, if you're on your side. If I can control the bottom leg, then he can't necessarily hip escape. He can't move to where he wants. So I'm
God! But you still got the Goga Plotch.
But
you can throw it right back in.
So
there's tons of passes that favor what you're saying, like Gordon's high step passing, where he just pins the armpit and he holds the foot and he just steps up, but he's holding the top foot. Yeah. He just steps out of your guard.
Thank you.
No more guard.
Friend of the podcast, Gordon Ryan. Jesus.
Will there be a point where we've used that joke too much, or not? You think?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, can we please just everybody for the 47 people that are watching?
It had an origin, but that episode never got published. So
those were so fun.
It's just going to be an inside joke for the public.
It's
those are always good.
I mean, he would be a friend of the podcast if he knew.
Hey, come on.
Actually, he's from New Jersey, though. I don't even want to be his friend.
I don't think so. I don't want to be his friend.
Anyone from New Jersey. Just, I hope you guys all, I hope the whole state burns.
What do you think about the whole, maybe we don't have enough time to get into this. Dude, I really hope that you will do this again, because we never got to talk about eco really at all. And also, I was going to get into to Gordon, being a cuck, and we didn't get to get into that either.
Oh, my God.
Oh, interesting.
That's
interesting.
Way out of it. Wasn't him.
Have you not heard that?
It was his younger brother.
No,
No, he's the cuck. His younger brother is the bull.
His younger brother is the bull.
That's why the B team wears the bulls.
That's why the B team wears the bulls.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Tell the story then.
I don't have time. I'm already 15 minutes overdue.
Are you?
I got to teach class in 30 minutes.
All right.
I need
well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, dude, that was
amazing.
Fun. I hope you come back. I know you're busy.
Lots of content. I'd love to.
Yeah, we need to do a full Rogan, which is 3 hours. So this is 90 minutes, but Mike needs to be here for that.
Working on. I have a new guy that's helping with kids classes, and as soon as I know that he's in the swing,
okay.
Then on Mondays and Wednesdays, I don't necessarily have to teach kids classes, so I'll have more.
So Mondays
get a full Rogan in.
Yeah,
we should do a fight companion on like a Who's Number One.
Oh, that'd be fun,
and that could be easily a full Rogan.
Yeah. Nice.
Let's
do it.
All right.
Thanks for being here, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. Miles, thank you. And your sweatsuit looks great, as always.
This is full velour. The whole thing. Yeah.
There's very few people in the world that can actually pull that off.
Yeah.
Miles is one of them.
Thank you, guys.
Maybe Miles.
You'll see the...
Maybe Miles. He's one of them, for sure.
You'll see that on my Shopify store very soon.
I can't wait. I'll buy them.
Yeah.
I'll buy them.
Respect.
And then,
They'll be sponsored.
Oh, leave a review. Right now we're on Spotify and Amazon Podcasts. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. We'll be on iTunes or Apple Podcasts pretty soon. They're really difficult to work with. I'm trying. I'm busy.
We got to set this to the beginning, guys. Like and subscribe. Donkey punch the subscribe buttons. Turn on the bell. Do whatever you need to do.
5 stars.
We're gonna, if you guys
notify.
If 50 of us do this, we're going to cremate my father and snort his ashes. Okay, whatever we.
And his father's not even dead yet.
For more subscribers.
All right, that's my alarm to hard cut right there.
Okay.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.